UDC.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining me today to discuss UDC's Utility Network Migration Solution, what we call our HEIDE migration tool. Together, we're going to get down to the details of how HEIDE will help you to get the most out of your existing GIS data and complete your migration flexibly. Before we do that, I want to start with a little bit about UDC. UDC is a privately owned company founded in 2005 and is centered on automating gas and electric utilities. We are a growing company and are a spatially focused systems integrator for utilities. We have 4 primary offices across the U.S. in Denver, Los Angeles, Waukesha, and Tampa, and we're highly focused on leading innovation within our industry. Over the past 15 years, we have served gas and electric utilities from small to mid-size to large Tier 1 organizations, providing GIS services and operational solutions. Now, a little bit about HEIDE. HEIDE, or High Fidelity Export-Import Data Exchange, is a tool that was developed by UDC to provide utilities an iterative approach to migrating their data to the utility network. Everything that we do is powered by automation, advanced logic and analytics that substantially reduces the migration effort. It lets you perform the migration iteratively. Because we're using automated tools, it's really easy to make changes and perform migration tasks multiple times if you want to build on your results. It's intelligent. It uses all of the information in your source data to create mapping, so you have to do less manual work. It's comprehensive, which means because we've automated and made all these intelligent decisions, you can choose to migrate your data completely if you want. Or you can choose to do a smaller subset. You can use the automated mappings to do whatever scale makes sense for your organization. And really critically, it provides 100% data QA/QC. Every action taken by HEIDE is logged, and every piece of data is validated. In the utility industry, this is a key component, is making sure all of our actions are traceable, verifiable, and complete. Looking at the data on the right, what we're showing here is the 3 primary stages of HEIDE migration: data modeling, configuration, and validation and transfer. Important thing to notice here is most of the work up front is completed almost entirely through automation. So we're looking at your existing data and populating our data mappings up front. Your participation will happen in targeted intervals to make sure that we're using your time intelligently and gathering input at key milestones rather than needing you participating all the time. This is just a little diagram that kind of illustrates the traditional migration approach, which is very linear. It's a highly intensive data review process, both for us as the service provider and for you as the utility client. It's sequential, but in comparison, we're automating it using the information within your data and allowing you to approach things iteratively, which reduces the effort for everyone, which is great. Now let's talk a little bit about return on investment in the HEIDE space for your utility. We see a significant savings in 2 primary areas of your migration effort. The first is data modeling. Due to automation, the amount of effort in your source to target mapping is reduced greatly, which is a medium-high return. And data QA/QC is automated and is 100% accurate. So that's a huge investment value. The second area is advanced configuration. Advanced configuration is one of the highest value targets and one of the best reasons to move to utility network. Automation in HEIDE reduces the amount of time to actually leverage this functionality, and as you can see, it provides a really high level of ROI. Additionally, because of the automation that is inherent to the HEIDE tool, you may have the opportunity to position your expenditure as a capital investment, which is really exciting. A little bit about our offering in terms of our partnership with Esri. As a partner with Esri, our offering supports the architecture of ArcGIS, and that's a single platform that provides a system of record, a system of insight, and a system of engagement. The utility network is a purpose-built application that is designed for utilities to accomplish things that utilities need to do. The functionality provided is a baseline for true asset and network management. It allows you to do advanced network modeling, really accurate visualization and embedded analytics. The structure of the Esri environment allows pervasive access to your data, and it's comprehensive and extensible. When you implement utility network, you're going to see an unrivaled ability for you to access your data as it exists in the real world, which enables coordinated operations across your enterprise with better quality and more accurate data. One part of the value that utility network brings is high fidelity data. What does that even mean? For utilities, high fidelity simply means how precisely we're modeling in GIS what is in the field. So what matches? That means we are not just putting points, lines, and polygons into a database. We're actually modeling everything as it exists in the field. So if we're talking about a regulator station for a gas utility, while that might have been a point database in your source, in the target, it's going to be a container that actually shows you all of the valves and pipes and everything that's really contained within that network. It's a complete GIS model. Why do I want that? Well, it depends if you're a gas or an electric, but really the goal is the same. And that goal is the more information that you have in GIS, the more information critical downstream applications are going to be able to get. So on the electric side, that means really great and detailed support for instituting and maintaining your ADMS, as well as enabling some of the highest value applications. That would be operations analysis like Flizzr or VDO and switch order management. On the gas side, it means you can do things like pass information down to your enterprise asset management, SCADA, and spatial BI systems. It means you can model things like corrosion protection, get really key tracking and traceability data to your integrity management programs. It's an amazing opportunity that you have to build really quality data and empower very high value analytics downstream. How can HEIDE help you? Well, the first step is, how do you know if your data is ready to move to the utility network model? HEIDE has a primary function of being able to perform a data readiness assessment. It's going to interrogate and analyze your database to determine what the current state is. It provides detailed reports outlining what within your database will stop you from migrating to the utility network, and also what is missing from your current data set that might help you if you were to migrate. Most importantly, your HEIDE will tell you how your utility can improve its data before doing migration so that you can get exactly the behavior that you want once you're done. Another thing that HEIDE does is actually migrate your data. It automates the migration process, and it allows you to achieve the level of functionality that you want in utility network. It performs a full QA/QC, it does advanced data configuration, and it actually creates your asset package. So now I'm going to get into a little bit of detail about HEIDE. Let's talk about how we're going to get from our current source database to our target database. The first step here in our iterative cycle is loading our source data. So what we're going to do is we're going to auto-create our data mapping. The way that we're going to do that is using the schema mapper spreadsheet. How do we get a schema mapper? What you're looking at here is actually the HEIDE interface. I'm just going to click this button that says Create New Schema Mapper. What does that do? What it does is it generates this Excel spreadsheet. Why an Excel spreadsheet? Because an Excel spreadsheet is super easy to work with and it's really intuitive. It allows you to add lines, remove lines, rename things. Everyone knows how to use Excel. And it can also be shared within your team. The next step, once I have my data created and HEIDE has decided what goes where, is to QC my source data. This screenshot is just telling you that HEIDE is what's called a provider application. It's going to let you choose whatever your source data is, whether it's ArcFM, ArcGIS, or some non-Esri format. Then you're going to choose where it's going to look at your source data, and then you're going to generate your QA/QC. You can also use that schema mapper that you generated to put a different lens on your QA/QC analysis. Again, what happens when I generate the QA/QC? You get another Excel file. There are four key pieces of information that are generated by HEIDE: errors, warnings, information, and offset features. What you're seeing here are errors. Errors are features that are not going to be migrated by HEIDE. Every time an error or a warning is generated, HEIDE is going to tell you specifically why it's not moving. This is what your warnings look like. Some cool things about this is it's telling you exactly what the warning is right here. It says there's duplicate vertices or self-intersecting. And it also gives you the ability to query. It gives you a where clause that allows you to go to your source data. Right here is the where clause, and find that error and look at it and see whether or not you want to fix it in your source database or whether you want to fix it in your target. We also have an information tab. That's just a list of every feature that's going to be migrated. Some other value added migration information that we're providing is self-intersecting lines, lines with duplicate vertices and stack points. All of this matters because it's going to affect the way that your data migrates. We've talked a lot about schema mapper and HEIDE doing all of this automated logic to decide what goes where. But just because HEIDE decides it doesn't mean that's the answer. So the next step is taking a look at that target data model and determining whether or not it's set up the way that you want to set it up. Now, because it's an Excel spreadsheet, as I said, it's really easy to modify any way that you want. So here you can see that I've renamed primary underground line section, so it's primary underground single phase. Simple, it's as easy as typing into a cell in Excel. I can also choose to add filters so that I am only migrating a subset of data. This query is saying only bring over any feature where the feeder ID is equal to 922 or 923. You can do this for all different kinds of queries. It's a really easy way to only migrate a subset if you're doing a proof of concept or a POC. We've got our target model data. The next step is all of that fancy advanced configuration we've been talking about. All of this is automated by HEIDE. The associations that utility network uses to model relationships between features that are not geometrically coincident, whether that's connectivity between features, between structures and their attachments, and container features. So we're going to set this on multiple levels. This first tab is what feature can be what, and the second is what are the feature level creation associations. Again, what this is doing is instead of having to do it in Pro once it's loaded, it's allowing you to set all of this up ahead of time. Same thing for terminals. We have all of the configuration needed to make sure when you load your asset package, your terminals are set up the way that you're going to want to see them. Now, another really cool thing that HEIDE does is domain management. It's a huge part of the migration. Domains that were set across feature classes in your normal database may be merged into a single feature class due to the fact that utility network only has 5 feature classes, and you probably have way more than that in your source database. So right now, what you're looking at is what your current domains might look like. Now, with utility network, you're going to get one single domain for pole materials. All of your domain values are going to be merged into one. We handle this in several ways in HEIDE. One, we report on it. That warning tab that we talked about, it's going to tell you every single time you have a domain that's been merged, and it's going to give you details on it. What happens if you have domains that are different in your source than in your target? For example, in the new domain we created in the previous slide, we now have this single table. It's all the pole materials, but you don't want to be able to create a non-wood pole with the material type of wood. Before, that was managed with subtypes where you could build constraints into it. Now, Esri has implemented something called contingent values to help you break out these domains once you get back into UN. We've automated the process for creating this logic. HEIDE analyzes your source data and creates 2 CSV files for network table, line, device, and assembly. It goes through and defines all the fields that have these contingencies and then lists out the contingent values. Again, this is just work that you're not having to do on the back end. The final advanced configuration is containment configuration. What this allows you to do is take those containers that are now available to you in utility network and create them before you migrate your data. It allows you to pre-configure them, including physical layout and association. So when you load your asset package, the data is already configured automatically. You can lay out each element, you can create multiple devices from a single banked feature, and it's an XML file, so it's really easy to share and load. Now you have everything set up. It looks exactly like you want to see it, maybe. We're going to do one more QA because we care about making sure our data is accurate. We're going to compare our schema mapper to our target. Run the compare, and you're going to get another Excel spreadsheet. Because the migration to UN isn't your traditional migration, the report is going to tell you exactly where the source data is going. Where in most conversions, you have one feature, and that feature is converted over. And so you can do a comparison that says, I had one in my source, I have one in my target, yay, I'm good. But with utility network, if you have containers, one feature might be 5 features. And so this spreadsheet allows you to see by feature how many you had in your source and where they're going in your target. So it's very easy to make sure that all your data is coming over the way that you want to see it, even if the numbers don't match precisely. It also does so much more stuff. It tells you all the UN rules it's implementing. It tells you all of the domains that are coming over. It lists out all of the things that were in your source but are not getting migrated. And it even gives you the object ID for each feature that's not coming over. The final thing that it does is it tells you any field discrepancy. So if you have a source field that is one particular data type and it's going into a destination field with another data type, it's going to give you that information. Whew, now that we've done all that work, let's create an asset package. That's really easy. I just click this button. Once the asset package is created, we need to load and enable it into ArcGIS Pro. So we've built an add-in that takes this multi-step process and with a little user input on the front end runs every process, so then ArcGIS Pro is loaded and you have got a new cup of coffee. So that's HEIDE. It's a pretty impressive tool. What it allows you to do is unlock some of that advanced functionality that utility network is bringing to the table. Advanced tracing, subnetwork modeling, network diagrams, non-geometric associations, containers, whatever makes sense for your business. You can choose to do a simple migration. You can just click the button and go, or you can see how much of this advanced functionality makes sense for you. Another great thing that's coming with HEIDE is the ability to support incremental migration. What that will allow us to do is run 2 systems in parallel. So you can have the utility network in ArcGIS Pro up and running for your system of engagement. So everyone's getting the ability to see your intelligent data. But maybe your editors want to stay in their normal ArcGIS desktop editing environment for just a little bit longer. We can support that workflow. You decide when to go live. It's adaptable to all various possible source models. It automatically transforms your utility data. It provides you a path to the advanced functionality of utility network, and it allows you to do the work the way that you want to do it. Big bang, small bang, no bang, whatever makes sense, you make the decision. A quick final few points of interest around if you're interested in using HEIDE to support your migration. Any timeline is always dependent on the scale of the migration, how much GIS customization you have, and how good your source data is. But it's really easy to get started with a 2 to 4 week data assessment where we review your data, perform some test conversions, and then provide a detailed plan for full conversion. The next plan would be actually executing that full conversion plan. Most utilities are going to take 4 to 8 months. It could be more, it could be less. Again, it's really going to depend on how much and what exactly you want to do. You might be asking, how is HEIDE licensed? Our licensing is really structured around us using the tool to help you get to the UN. It's primarily a part of a services agreement, and we use it for the duration of your contract because after that, you don't need it. You're already at UN. Why would you want this tool anymore? However, if that is something you're interested, we're super happy to talk about it. Thank you. And if you have any questions, please come and see us. We'd love to talk to you.
UDC.